Precious soul, pause everything right now. God is begging you. Yes, begging you. Not because he is weak, but because what is about to happen in your life is so urgent, so time-sensitive, that heaven cannot stay silent any longer. If you ignore this final warning, your breakthrough will be given to someone else. It's very urgent. Open this immediately tonight before 11:59 p.m. Don't make the mistake of skipping it. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is not just another video on your screen. You were led here. Right now, there is a spiritual transaction hovering over your life. A door has been prepared. A table has been set. A blessing has been written with your name on it. But there is a deadline attached to it, and heaven is watching your response. Archangel Michael stands as a witness in this moment. He is not here with fear, but with urgency. He is guarding what was assigned to you. He is holding back forces that tried to delay you. He is protecting a breakthrough that has your fingerprint on it. But understand this clearly: protection does not override participation. You must respond. Listen carefully, because this is where it gets serious. For months, maybe even years, you have prayed for a shift. You asked God for restoration. You cried out for financial relief. You begged for peace in your home. You whispered for clarity and confusion. But heaven heard every word. Not one tear was wasted. Not one prayer was ignored. But what you did not know is that your breakthrough was scheduled for a specific spiritual window. And that window is closing tonight, before 11:59 p.m. Why tonight? Because obedience has a timing. Faith has a timing. Alignment has a timing. And delay has consequences. There is someone else praying for the very thing you asked for. Someone else who is positioned. Someone else who is ready to move. If you remain passive, distracted, or doubtful, the opportunity will not disappear. It will simply be redirected. That is why this message feels intense. That is why your spirit feels stirred. That is why you cannot scroll away. God is not threatening you. He is alerting you. There is a difference. Archangel Michael is described as the warrior, the protector, the defender of divine assignments. And right now, he is positioned around your destiny. But even a warrior cannot force a soldier to pick up their own sword. You must choose. The house you are living in, the environment you are surrounded by, the conversations happening behind your back, the silent tension you have felt. None of it is accidental. There has been a spiritual resistance around your space. Have you noticed strange delays? Have you felt unexplained heaviness? Have you sensed that something is off but you could not explain it? That is not imagination. When a breakthrough is near, opposition increases. When favor is close, distraction multiplies. When promotion is scheduled, confusion tries to interrupt it. But here is the revelation that should shock you. Your breakthrough is not just about money. It is not just about a relationship. It is not just about a job. It is about positioning. God is about to move you into a different level of influence. And not everyone around you can go there. That is why tension has increased. That is why certain people have become distant. That is why misunderstandings have surfaced. Heaven is separating what cannot follow you. And if you ignore this warning, you may misinterpret the separation as rejection, and you will step back instead of stepping forward. Do not do that. Tonight is about alignment. Before 11:59 p.m., you must make a decision in your heart. You must declare that you are ready. You must release hesitation. You must let go of doubt. Because delay right now is dangerous. I need you to hear this clearly. Opportunities from God do not beg twice. When divine favor knocks, it expects recognition. Archangel Michael is not here to frighten you. He is here to confirm that this is a battle moment, a defining moment, a turning point moment, and something else you need to know: there has been a test, a quiet test. Heaven hath been watching how you respond when nothing seems to change, how you act when prayers feel unanswered, how you behave when doors remain closed, and you passed more than you realize. But the final step requires courage. This is where many people lose it. They get so close and then they hesitate. They overthink. They procrastinate. They assume there will be another chance. Sometimes there is not. You are not watching this by accident. The urgency you feel is confirmation. The pull in your spirit is real. Do not treat this as entertainment. Do not treat this as background noise. Do not treat this as "I will do it later." Later is not promised. Tonight, before 11:59 p.m., something must shift inside you. Pray with intention. Speak with authority. Declare readiness. Reject fear. Choose obedience. Because if you ignore this final warning, your breakthrough will be given to someone else who says yes. And I know you do not want to watch someone else walk in what was meant for you. This is your moment. This is your window. This is your call. And heaven is waiting for your response. Chosen one, lean in closer, because what I am about to reveal will explain the pressure you have been feeling all day. The urgency is not random. The clock is not symbolic. There is a spiritual alignment happening around your life tonight, and heaven is measuring your response with precision. When God says, "Open this immediately before 11:59 p.m., it is not about superstition. It is about obedience meeting opportunity at the exact second it was designed to collide. You may be wondering why this feels so intense. Why does it feel like something is hanging in the balance? Why does it feel like a decision you make tonight could echo for years? That feeling is real because breakthrough moments are rarely comfortable. They come wrapped in pressure. They come disguised as urgency. They arrive when your mind wants to delay but your spirit feels restless. Archangel Michael is positioned in this hour as a guardian over transition. Transition is not always loud. Sometimes it is a quiet shift in authority. Sometimes it is an unseen transfer of favor. Sometimes it is a divine reallocation of resources in the spiritual realm. And here is what you must understand: heaven never wastes resources. If a blessing is prepared and the assigned person does not step forward, it does not sit idle. It moves. This is why the warning is so direct. If you ignore this final call, your breakthrough will be given to someone else. Not because God stopped loving you, but because divine timing must move forward. The kingdom advances. It does not freeze for hesitation. Think about the patterns in your life. How many times did you feel close to something big, only to pull back at the last second? How many times did fear whisper, "Wait," when your spirit whispered, "Move"? Tonight exposes that pattern. Tonight confronts procrastination. Tonight challenges comfort. There is something specific God is asking you to release before 11:59 p.m. For some of you, it is pride. For others, it is doubt. For some, it is a toxic attachment. For others, it is the habit of minimizing your own calling. You have played small to keep others comfortable. You have dimmed your light to avoid attention. But breakthrough requires boldness. Archangel Michael does not fight timid battles. He stands where courage is activated. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is obedience despite it. Right now, heaven is waiting for a signal from you. A declaration, a prayer spoken with conviction, a decision that says, I am ready. This is also the moment where distraction will try to intensify. You may suddenly feel tired. You may feel tempted to scroll past this message. You may think, I will deal with this tomorrow. That is the resistance reacting to revelation. The closer you get to breakthrough, the louder the distractions become. Do not surrender to that voice. Instead, pause tonight. Create a sacred few minutes before the clock hits 11:59 p.m. Step away from noise. Close the door. Silence the chaos. Speak directly to God and say, I accept what you prepared for me. I will not let it pass. That sentence alone shifts atmospheres. You have underestimated how powerful agreement is. When you agree with heaven, protection increases. When you agree with your calling, clarity sharpens. When you agree with divine timing, delays dissolve. And let me tell you something else that most people will not say openly. Some individuals around you sense that you are about to elevate. They cannot explain it, but they feel it. That is why their behavior has changed. That is why subtle tension exists. Promotion exposes insecurity in others. But you cannot shrink because someone else is uncomfortable. Your obedience tonight is bigger than their opinion. Before this day ends, you must settle it in your spirit. No more halfway commitment. No more casual faith. No more treating destiny like an optional hobby. This is the hour to be decisive. And if this message is confirming what your spirit has already been sensing, then do not stay silent. Like this video as a sign of agreement. Share it with someone who needs this warning. Comment your declaration boldly so heaven sees your readiness. Subscribe to this channel if you know these messages are aligning you with your next level. When you engage, you are not just supporting content. You are amplifying a word that could rescue someone else from missing their moment. There is momentum building right now. You can feel it. Something is shifting in your chest. Something is awakening in your mind. Do not brush that off. Lean into it. What comes next will reveal why this deadline matters more than you think, and you will be grateful you stayed connected to this message instead of letting it fade into the background. Faithful one, this is the turning point where everything becomes clear. The urgency you have been feeling is not just about a deadline on a clock. It is about a spiritual transfer that has already been approved in heaven. Your name has been spoken in places you cannot see. Decisions have been discussed concerning you. Doors have been reviewed. And Archangel Michael has been standing guard over a breakthrough that carries weight, influence, and long-term impact. But here is the revelation that may shake you. Breakthrough is not only a gift. It is also a responsibility. And heaven will not place responsibility into hesitant hands. You have been asking God to elevate you, to expand your territory, to increase your capacity. Yet elevation demands readiness. Expansion requires strategy. Increase requires maturity. Tonight is the moment where God measures not your perfection, but your willingness. There was a time when you were not ready for what you are praying for now. You would have mishandled it. You would have doubted it. You would have allowed fear to sabotage it. But you have grown. Quietly. Painfully. Invisibly. Every delay shaped you. Every disappointment strengthened you. Every closed door trained you. And now, heaven is asking one final question. Will you step fully into alignment? Archangel Michael's presence in this message symbolizes protection during transition. Transition always attracts resistance. Whenever something valuable is being transferred, security increases. That is why you have felt spiritual tension recently. Not because you are losing, but because you are crossing over. The enemy does not fight what has no future. Resistance is proof of relevance. However, there is something you must confront before midnight. Deep down, you have been wrestling with a subtle doubt. A quiet voice that says, "What if this is not really for me?" That whisper has delayed you more than you realize. It has caused you to question opportunities. It has caused you to shrink back when you should have advanced. Tonight, the doubt must expire. God is not begging because he lacks power. He is urging because he values partnership. Heaven moves where there's agreement. When you say yes, divine resources activate. When you confirm your readiness, protection intensifies. When you declare trust, doors respond. Imagine standing at the edge of a bridge that leads to your next season. The bridge is stable. The path is clear. The destination is prepared. But you hesitate because stepping forward means leaving familiar ground. That is exactly where you are spiritually. Familiar struggle can feel safer than unfamiliar success. Yet you were not created to stay in cycles. You were not designed to repeat lessons. You were not chosen to watch others receive what you prayed for. If you ignore this warning, the opportunity will not beg again. It will shift to someone who responds quickly, boldly, decisively. And I know something about you. Your spirit would not allow you to sit peacefully while someone else lives the life that was meant for you. This is your defining hour. Before 11:59 p.m., do something intentional. Pray with authority. Speak aloud your acceptance of God's plan. Release any resentment, fear, or hesitation. Make a conscious decision that you will not sabotage your own elevation. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that you are protected while you move forward. You are not walking into danger. You are walking into destiny. Protection surrounds obedience. There are unseen forces that wanted you distracted tonight. They hoped you would ignore this message. They hope you would postpone your decision. They hope you would remain uncertain. But clarity has reached you. Awareness has found you. And now you are accountable for what you know. This is not pressure. It is privilege. The fact that God is urging you means you matter. The fact that heaven is waiting for your response means you are significant. The fact that a breakthrough is ready means you have passed more tests than you realized. Do not let this hour pass casually. Something sacred is attached to your yes. If this message is piercing your spirit, respond boldly. Type "I accept my breakthrough" in the comments if this is speaking directly to you. Lesson code 3499 has just been released over those who align before midnight. And as this sacred moment settles in your heart, understand something deeper. When you support the spread of messages like this, you are not funding a channel. You are fueling a spiritual rescue. You are helping light travel into homes where darkness tries to settle. Scripture says that when you sow into good soil, you reap a harvest pressed down and overflowing, and tonight that promise breathes with life over you. I feel led to say this clearly. When you release your seed, heaven releases its rain. This is your moment to act in faith. Through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link waiting in the description, you are placing oil into the lamp that keeps this fire burning. Do not treat it as a transaction. Treat it as a prophetic act. As you give, I declare that doors will open swiftly and clarity will rush toward you like a river. The same urgency that called you here will accelerate your increase. Obey the prompting in your spirit and step into partnership with this mission now. Beloved warrior, now that you have declared your acceptance, the atmosphere around you is no longer the same. Something shifted the moment you decided not to ignore this warning. Decisions made in alignment with heaven create immediate movement in the unseen realm. You may not see fireworks. You may not hear thunder. But do not mistake silence for inactivity. When you responded, chains that were invisible began to weaken. Archangel Michael does not stand idle. When a child of God aligns with divine timing, he enforces what has already been written. Protection intensifies. Interference is restrained. What tried to block you is commanded to step back. That is why some of you will notice a strange calm entering your spirit tonight. It is not coincidence. It is confirmation. However, breakthrough does not always arrive wrapped in comfort. Sometimes the first sign of progress is exposure. Hidden motives around you may surface. Conversations may shift. Opportunities may suddenly appear that require quick decisions. This is where discernment becomes crucial. You must understand this clearly. The warning was not only about receiving something. It was also about preparing you for acceleration. When God moves, He moves efficiently. Delays that lasted months can resolve in days. Stagnation that felt permanent can dissolve overnight. But rapid movement demands steady faith. Do not allow your emotions to outrun your wisdom. There is a reason this message came with urgency before 11:59 p.m. Midnight represents transition. It marks the end of one day and the beginning of another. Spiritually, it symbolizes closure and commencement. You were standing at a threshold. By responding, you crossed it. But crossing a threshold means leaving something behind. Some habits cannot follow you into your next season. Some relationships cannot survive your elevation. Some mindsets cannot coexist with your promotion. This is where many people become uncomfortable. They want breakthrough without change. They want increase without adjustment. They want favor without responsibility. That is not how divine order works. Archangel Michael's role as protector is not limited to defense. It also includes enforcement of divine structure. When you rise, structure must support you. If your foundation is weak, heaven will reinforce it. If your discipline is lacking, correction may come. Do not interpret correction as punishment. It is preparation. You are stepping into a season where your words carry more weight. Your influence will expand. Your presence will be noticed. That requires maturity. Tonight was not only about receiving a blessing. It was about confirming that you can steward it. Let me speak directly to the fear that might be trying to whisper again. You may think, what if I fail after saying yes? Hear this clearly. Obedience activates grace. When you step forward in faith, divine assistance accompanies you. You are not expected to manage your destiny alone. Help is assigned to obedience. There is also something powerful happening in your environment. Spiritual resistance that once seemed overwhelming is losing authority. The heaviness you felt in your home, the stagnation you sensed in your finances, the confusion clouding your decisions, these are being challenged. Light exposes what darkness tried to hide, but exposure can feel uncomfortable at first. Truth may surface. Realizations may come. You may recognize patterns that need to end. Embrace that clarity. It is not here to shame you. It is here to free you. And as you move forward, guard your focus. Distraction will not disappear completely. In fact, sometimes it increases when progress begins. Suddenly, unnecessary drama tries to demand your attention. Old temptations resurface. Doubt attempts one last argument. Recognize it for what it is, resistance reacting to your decision. You have already crossed the line of hesitation. Do not step backward now. The breakthrough that was at risk of being reassigned is now secured by your agreement. But security does not mean passivity. Continue praying. Continue speaking life. Continue acting with boldness. Momentum grows when it is maintained. Archangel Michael remains positioned as a symbol of divine order over your life. Not to create fear, but to remind you that heaven takes your calling seriously. You are not ordinary. Your obedience tonight proved that you value what God values. In the coming days, pay attention to subtle shifts, an unexpected message, a surprising opportunity, a new idea that feels inspired. These may be signs of movement. Do not dismiss small beginnings. Large breakthroughs often start quietly. You were warned because you are chosen. You were heard because you are capable. You were called because you are ready. Now walk like someone who knows that heaven has confirmed their next season. Steady heart. Breathe this in slowly, because what unfolds now will require strength, not excitement. The moment of urgency has passed, but the season of refinement has begun. When God warns you before a breakthrough, it is not only to secure the blessing, it is to prepare you for the weight of it. You prayed for increase, but increase carries responsibility. You asked for elevation, but elevation exposes everything that is unstable. Since you responded before midnight, something has already shifted in the spiritual realm. Archangel Michael stands not just as a protector, but as an enforcer of divine boundaries. What tried to intimidate you before will not have the same access anymore. But here is the truth many do not speak about. When access is denied, opposition sometimes changes strategy. You may notice subtle tests in the coming days. Small irritations, unexpected delays, emotional triggers that seem to come out of nowhere. Do not panic. These are not signs that you missed your breakthrough. They are signs that your breakthrough is being guarded. Resistance often makes one final attempt to provoke you into reacting wrongly. Your reaction matters now more than ever. When you were in a lower season, certain behaviors did not carry heavy consequences. But as you rise, your reactions echo louder. Words spoken in frustration can slow momentum. Decisions made in anger can complicate clarity. That is why discipline is becoming essential. You are being invited into spiritual maturity. Archangel Michael represents order in chaos. His presence reminds you that heaven operates with structure. Here is timing. Here is alignment. There is authority. If you want to remain under protection, you must stay aligned with divine order. That means guarding your thoughts. That means controlling your tongue. That means resisting the urge to explain yourself to everyone. Not everyone needs access to your next level. One of the hidden dangers after breakthrough is overexposure. When doors begin to open, there is a temptation to announce everything. But wisdom sometimes requires silence. Protect what is growing. Not every seed needs public attention. Some miracles develop best in quiet soil. You must also confront an internal shift. For a long time, you identified with struggle. You became familiar with lack. You learned how to survive disappointment. But now survival is not your calling. Thriving is, and the transition can feel unfamiliar. It is possible to outgrow your old identity and still feel emotionally attached to it. You might catch yourself expecting things to go wrong because that is what you are used to. That mindset must be replaced. You cannot carry a poverty mindset into a season of provision. You cannot carry insecurity into a season of influence. This is where intentional renewal becomes necessary. Speak differently about yourself. See yourself differently. Stop apologizing for growth. Stop shrinking to fit outdated spaces. The breakthrough you almost lost is not small. It requires confidence. Remember, God did not beg you because you were weak. He urged you because your obedience mattered in a specific window of time. That urgency revealed how serious your calling is. You are not ordinary. Your decisions affect more than you know. There are people connected to your destiny who have been waiting for you to step forward. Some of them are struggling silently. Some of them are praying for answers. Your elevation will become their access point to hope. This is why the warning was so strong. It was not only about your comfort. It was about your assignment. Archangel Michael's symbolic stance reminds you that battles are not always external. Sometimes the greatest battle is internal. Doubt versus faith. Fear versus courage. Comfort versus calling. You already chose courage once before midnight. Now you must choose consistency. Consistency protects breakthrough. In the days ahead, create daily moments of alignment. Even a few minutes of focused prayer. Even a simple declaration of trust. These small acts maintain spiritual clarity. Breakthrough is not a one-time event. It is a maintained state of alignment. You will also notice that some people may react strangely to your calmness. When chaos used to disturb you, others felt familiar. But now your peace may unsettle them. Do not absorb their discomfort. Peace is not weakness. It is strength under control. There is momentum building quietly. Opportunities may not explode instantly, but foundations are being laid. Conversations are aligning. Resources are shifting. Timing is adjusting. Trust the process without needing constant visible proof. You were warned because you were valued. You responded because you were ready. Now you are being shaped because you are chosen. Hold steady. Guard your growth. Walk carefully but confidently. The breakthrough that always shifted away from you is now forming into reality, and the way you steward this season will determine how far it expands. Anointed one, this is the phase where your faith is no longer emotional. It becomes disciplined. The intensity of the warning may have settled, but the weight of responsibility is now resting gently on your shoulders. Breakthrough has been secured through obedience, yet maintenance requires intention. Many people know how to respond in urgency, but few know how to remain steady after the urgency passes. This is where true transformation is proven. Since that decisive moment before midnight, subtle shifts have been unfolding around you. Some doors may not have opened visibly yet, but inner clarity has increased. You are thinking differently. You are observing differently. You are less reactive and more aware. That is not accidental. Archangel Michael's symbolic presence in your journey represents divine order being restored in your environment. Chaos is being reorganized. Confusion is being untangled. What once felt overwhelming is slowly becoming structured. But structure requires cooperation. You cannot ask for divine alignment and then entertain old distractions. This is the hour where self-sabotage must permanently lose its grip. You have outgrown certain conversations. You have outgrown certain emotional patterns. You have outgrown the need to prove yourself to people who were never assigned to validate you. There is something powerful happening within your spirit. Your tolerance for negativity is decreasing. Your patience for drama is thinning. Your desire for peace is strengthening. These are signs that you are adjusting to a higher frequency of living. Do not fight that adjustment. Embrace it. However, elevation often attracts subtle resistance from unexpected places. Someone close to you may question your decisions. Someone familiar may attempt to remind you of who you used to be. When people are comfortable with your old version, your growth can feel threatening to them. But remember this clearly. You are not responsible for managing other people's comfort when God is expanding your territory. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that divine authority backs your obedience. You are not rising alone. Protection surrounds progress, but you must guard your mindset. Thoughts are seeds. If you allow doubt to root again, it can slow momentum. If you entertain fear repeatedly, it can cloud clarity. Choose your inner dialogue carefully. Speak life over your direction. Speak confidence over your decisions. Speak peace over your home. Words shape atmosphere. You are not powerless in this process. You are participatory. The breakthrough that almost shifted away from you now requires partnership through consistent faith. And let me say something that needs to be heard clearly. Do not mistake silence for stagnation. Just because everything is not visible yet does not mean nothing is happening. Some of the greatest rearrangements take place behind the scenes. Timing is aligning. People are being positioned. Opportunities are being prepared in rooms you have not entered yet. Patience now is not delay. It is stabilization. You must also be mindful of exhaustion. After intense spiritual moments, the body and mind sometimes feel drained. Rest is not weakness. It is wisdom. Even warriors pause to recover. Archangel Michael represents strength under authority, but strength includes knowing when to be still. Allow yourself moments of quiet, restoration. Reflection strengthens discernment. At the same time, remain engaged. Do not drift back into passivity. Engage with what is feeding your growth. Continue learning. Continue praying. Continue refining your discipline. Momentum thrives where consistency lives. If this message continues to align with what you are experiencing, then engage boldly. Like this video as a declaration that you are committed to your next level. Share it with someone who may be standing at their own spiritual deadline. Comment your thoughts because your testimony could awaken someone else's courage. Subscribe and become part of this growing movement of faith. When you interact, you are amplifying a voice that reminds people not to miss their divine moments. And stay attentive, because what unfolds next will connect the quiet shifts you are feeling to a larger revelation you may not have considered yet. Your obedience was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of acceleration. Hold your posture. Guard your focus. Walk forward with calm authority. The breakthrough is no longer at risk, but its expansion depends on your steadiness now. Radiant soul, something deeper is unfolding now, and you may not even realize how significant this phase is. The urgency that once pressed against your spirit has transformed into a quiet, steady current beneath your daily life. This is no longer about a single decision before midnight. This is about who you are becoming because you chose not to ignore the warning. There is a difference between receiving a breakthrough and embodying it. Many people experience moments of favor, but few transform into people who can sustain it. You are being shaped into someone who does not panic under pressure, who does not retreat when challenged, and who does not abandon faith when results take time. Archangel Michael's symbolic presence in this journey reminds you that victory is not loud at first. It often begins as stability. The chaos that once tried to dominate your mind no longer has the same control. The fear that used to paralyze your decisions feels weaker. The insecurity that whispered constantly has lost volume. These internal victories are evidence that something substantial has shifted. But there is another layer to understand. When breakthrough is near manifestation, subtle temptations appear. Not obvious destruction, but small compromises. You may feel tempted to lower your standards just a little, to revisit conversations you already outgrew, to entertain thoughts you already conquered. These are not coincidences. They are last-minute attempts to see if your transformation is real or temporary. Do not underestimate small decisions. Great destinies are not lost in dramatic moments. They are diluted through repeated minor compromises. Stay alert. Stay intentional. You did not come this far to drift back into old cycles. You may also notice something interesting in your relationships. Certain connections are naturally fading without conflict. Others are strengthening unexpectedly. Is his alignment in motion? You are being repositioned socially as well as spiritually. Some people were companions for one chapter, but not for the next. Release them with grace. There is no need for bitterness. Growth itself creates distance. At the same time, new voices may enter your life. Encouragement may come from unexpected places. Opportunities for collaboration may surface. Do not dismiss these shifts as random. When God elevates someone, He adjusts their circle accordingly. There is also a calling within you that is becoming louder. Perhaps it is a desire to start something, to speak more boldly, to pursue an idea that once felt unrealistic. That stirring is not imagination. It is activation. The breakthrough you almost lost was not only about relief, it was about release. Release of potential. Release of courage. Release of influence. Archangel Michael represents courage under divine authority. Courage does not mean recklessness. It means moving forward with confidence rooted in obedience. You have already proven your willingness. Now you are being invited into initiative. Initiative requires action without constant reassurance. You may not receive daily confirmations. You may not see instant results. But faith matures when it acts without needing applause. There will be moments in the coming days when doubt tries to reintroduce itself. It may whisper, "Nothing has really changed." When that thought appears, confront it with evidence. You responded. You aligned. You grew. You are not who you were weeks ago. Transformation does not always announce itself loudly. It reveals itself gradually. Guard your peace fiercely. Peace is no longer optional for you. It is foundational. If something consistently disturbs your clarity, evaluate its place in your life. Not everything deserves access to your energy. You must also begin to see yourself differently. Stop identifying with the version of you that always missed the moment. Identify with the version of you that responded. That is your true nature. That is your strength. That is your direction. The breakthrough that was at risk has now become a path unfolding step by step. Do not rush it, but do not neglect it. Stay attentive to small instructions. Small instructions often lead to large outcomes. Above all, remember this. Urgency brought you to awareness, but consistency will carry you to fulfillment. You are no longer standing at the edge of decision. You are walking the road of manifestation. Walk it with confidence. Walk it with discipline. Walk it knowing that protection surrounds you, alignment guides you, and growth is no longer optional. It is inevitable. Brave heart, what you are stepping into now is the unveiling phase. The urgency awakened you. The decision aligned you. The discipline stabilized you. But this stage reveals why the warning was so serious in the first place. It was never just about a single breakthrough. It was about a transfer of influence that required your full attention. Something has been shifting quietly in your environment. Conversations are changing tone. People are responding to you differently. Doors that once seemed locked no longer feel impossible. Even the way you carry yourself has adjusted. There is a steadiness in your posture, a clarity in your voice, a calmness in your reactions. These are not small details. They are evidence that you crossed into a new spiritual posture. Archangel Michael's presence in this journey symbolizes more than protection now. It symbolizes authorization. Protection guarded you at the threshold. Authorization accompanies you in the territory. You are not sneaking into your next season. You are entering with permission. But authorization attracts visibility. You may begin to notice that your actions are observed more closely. Your words hold more weight. Your influence stretches farther than before. This is where integrity becomes critical. Influence without integrity collapses under pressure. That is why the warning came first. Character had to be secured before visibility increased. There is also a revealing happening around you. Certain truths may surface about people you trusted. Hidden motives may become clear. Do not allow disappointment to harden you. Revelation is mercy. It protects you from future damage. When truth surfaces, it is heaven clearing your path. Some of you are sensing a calling that feels bigger than your current environment. You feel restless in familiar spaces. You feel capable of more. That stirring is not arrogance. It is awakening. The breakthrough you secured was tied to purpose, not comfort. You were never meant to settle into mediocrity. However, growth requires courage to move beyond approval. Not everyone will celebrate your expansion. Some will misunderstand it. Some will question it. Some will try to remind you of who you used to be. But remember this clearly: your past does not have authority over your future. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that divine assignments outrank human opinions. As you step further into this unveiling, guard your humility. Confidence and humility must walk together. You are rising, but remain grounded. Gratitude keeps elevation healthy. Acknowledge that grace carried you here. There is also an acceleration coming that may surprise you. Opportunities may cluster together. Decisions may need to be made quickly. Do not panic. The discipline you developed in the quiet phase prepared you for this. When movement increases, return to the foundation of prayer and discernment. And let me speak to the fear that sometimes hides beneath success. You may secretly wonder if this level of favor can last. That fear stems from old seasons of instability. But you are not operating from the same place anymore. Stability hath been established within you. Even if circumstances fluctuate, your core is anchored. The warning before 11:59 p.m. was about alignment. Alignment has now turned into access. Access opens rooms you once only imagined. But access must be stewarded wisely. Not every opportunity is assignment. Not every invitation is divine. Discernment protects destiny. If this message confirms what you are experiencing, respond in faith. Type "I walk in authority" in the comments if this speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 5821 is now activated over those stepping boldly into their authorized season. And as this unveiling continues, understand something sacred. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting content. You are extending authorization to reach souls who are standing at their own midnight moment. The word declares that when you give, it is given back to you in overflowing measure, and tonight that promise stands alive over your seed. I feel compelled to say this directly. When you release your offering, you are lighting a torch that guides someone else out of darkness. This is not casual generosity. It is prophetic participation. As you give, may doors respond to you swiftly. May clarity increase. May protection surround your household. Step into this act of faith now and partner with the mission heaven is advancing through this message. Steadfast one, Now you are entering the consolidation phase, where everything that has been shifting begins to anchor itself into reality. The unveiling brought awareness. The authorization brought access. But consolidation brings permanence. This is where your breakthrough stops feeling like a possibility and starts becoming your new normal. There is a quiet confidence growing within you. You are no longer waiting anxiously for something to happen. You are moving with expectation instead of desperation. That shift alone is powerful. Desperation chases outcomes. Expectation attracts them. The urgency that once pressed you has transformed into assurance. Archangel Michael's symbolic presence in your journey now represents reinforcement. Reinforcement means strengthening what has already been built. When a structure is reinforced, it can withstand pressure without collapsing. You are being reinforced emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. The lessons you learned in the previous seasons are not fading. They are becoming your foundation. You may notice that challenges still arise, but they do not shake you like they once did. Situations that previously would have caused anxiety now feel manageable. That is growth in action. Breakthrough is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of stability within them. However, consolidation requires vigilance. Just because you crossed the threshold does not mean you can drift into complacency. Complacency is subtle. It whispers you have arrived. Relax completely. But growth never truly stops. Momentum must be maintained with intentional living. Be mindful of routine. Routines can either protect your progress or weaken it. Maintain habits that nurture clarity. Guard your quiet time. Protect your peace fiercely. Your breakthrough is not fragile, but your focus can be. There is also a recalibration happening in your identity. You are beginning to see yourself as someone capable of sustaining success. A belief is critical. If you subconsciously believe good things cannot last, you may unintentionally create instability. Replace that narrative now. Stability is your portion. Consistency is your inheritance. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that divine reinforcement is active. You are not stabilizing alone. There is unseen assistance fortifying your path, but you must remain aligned with integrity. Do not compromise the standards you set during the urgent phase. The same discipline that secured your breakthrough will preserve it. You may also sense an increasing desire to give back, to guide others, to share what you have learned. That is natural. When someone crosses a difficult threshold, compassion expands. You remember what it felt like to always miss your moment. You remember the urgency. You remember the tension. Now you carry wisdom that could rescue someone else. This is how influence multiplies. The breakthrough that was once at risk has now matured into responsibility. Responsibility does not mean pressure. It means purpose. Your experience is becoming a testimony in motion. Others will observe your calmness, your clarity, your steadiness. They may not know the full story, but they will sense the shift. Be careful not to minimize what you overcame. It was not small. The warring was intense because the assignment was significant. Now you are living in the aftermath of obedience. That deserves acknowledgement. At the same time, remain humble. Reinforcement does not equal invincibility. Continue to seek guidance. Continue to evaluate your decisions thoughtfully. Continue to choose integrity even when shortcuts seem easier. There is a deep peace settling over this phase. It may feel less dramatic than the earlier moments, but do not mistake calm for insignificance. Calm is often the clearest evidence of alignment. When storms no longer dominate your internal world, you know growth has occurred. As consolidation strengthens, new visions may start forming. Bigger ideas, longer-term goals, dreams that extend beyond immediate needs. That is expansion quietly reintroducing itself. This time, it will not arrive with panic. It will rhyme with preparation. Remember who you are now. You are the person who responded before midnight. You are the one who chose alignment over hesitation. You are the one who refused to let breakthrough pass by. Stand firm in that identity. The season ahead will not be defined by urgency, but by authority. Not by desperation, but by discipline. Not by fear, but by faith anchored in experience. Reinforcement is complete when confidence feels natural. And you are almost there. Stay steady. Stay aware. Stay aligned. What was once fragile is now fortified, and what was once a warning has become a witness to your growth. Committed soul, this is where acceleration meets accountability. You have moved through urgency, alignment, discipline, unveiling, and reinforcement. Now the pace begins to change again. Not with pressure like before midnight, but with momentum that demands maturity. When God secures a breakthrough and stabilizes it, the next step is multiplication. Multiplication is different from increase. Increase adds. Multiplication expands. And expansion will stretch you. You may begin to notice opportunities appearing closer together. Invitations, ideas, connections, responsibilities. It may feel like several doors are opening at once. This is not chaos. This is capacity being tested. Can you handle more without losing balance? Can you grow without compromising your peace? Archangel Michael's symbolic presence at this stage represents strategic protection. Protection is no longer just about guarding you from loss. It is about guarding your focus from overload. When multiplication begins, distraction can masquerade as opportunity. Not every open door is your assignment. Discernment must lead acceleration. This is why discipline developed earlier becomes essential now. Without discipline, multiplication overwhelms. With discipline, multiplication elevates. You must prioritize wisely. Decide what aligns with your calling and what simply flatters your ego. Expansion should deepen purpose, not inflate pride. There is also a subtle shift happening internally. You are starting to expect favor instead of hoping for survival. That expectation changes how you approach life. You prepare differently. You plan differently. You speak differently. The person who once feared missing their breakthrough is now becoming someone who anticipates divine strategy. But do not forget the foundation that carried you here. Prayer is still necessary. Reflection is still powerful. Humility is still protective. Multiplication without grounding can destabilize quickly. Some of you may feel stretched emotionally. Growth often requires letting go of routines that once felt comfortable. Time management becomes more important. Energy must be guarded carefully. You cannot give your best to everything. Focus creates impact. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that divine assignments come with divine structure. If something consistently disrupts your peace or drains your strength without purpose, reevaluate its place. Multiplication should feel challenging but not chaotic. There is a difference. You may also notice increased visibility. People may begin to look to you for guidance. Your words may carry influence beyond what you realize. This is where integrity must remain uncompromised. The higher you rise, the more essential authenticity becomes. And let me say something directly. You not downplay your growth to make others comfortable. You work through urgency. You responded before midnight. You maintained discipline when no one saw. You deserve to walk confidently in what God entrusted to you. If this message is strengthening your resolve, engage actively. Like this video as a declaration that you are ready for multiplication without losing balance. Share it with someone stepping into a new level who needs clarity. Comment your insight because your words may confirm someone else's journey. Subscribe and stay connected, because the next revelation will tie together why this acceleration is only the beginning of something even greater. Momentum is building, but wisdom must guide it. Do not rush blindly. Move intentionally. There is a rhythm to divine expansion. When you stay aligned, growth feels purposeful rather than pressured. One more truth must be spoken clearly. The breakthrough that almost shifted away from you is now becoming a platform. A platform is not just for standing, it is for serving. Your multiplication will impact others. That is why accountability matters. The more influence you carry, the more carefully you must steward it. Guard your time. Guard your character. Guard your focus. You are no longer fighting to receive. You are learning to manage abundance. That is a different kind of strength. It requires wisdom over impulse, strategy over emotion, and patience over pride. Acceleration has begun, but it is controlled acceleration. You are not spiraling upward. You are ascending with intention. Stay rooted. Stay discerning. Stay grateful. The warning that once felt urgent has transformed into a pathway of expansion. And what you are stepping into now is not temporary growth. It is sustainable multiplication. Enduring one. What you are experiencing now is refinement at a higher level. Multiplication has begun, momentum is moving, and opportunities are unfolding. But before the fullness of your breakthrough becomes undeniable, there is one final layer of strengthening that must take place. This layer is not about external success. It is about internal sovereignty. Sovereignty means you are no longer easily swayed by external opinions, emotional waves, or sudden changes. It means you operate from conviction rather than reaction. The urgency that once awakened you has matured into authority. You are not scrambling anymore. You are establishing. Archangel Michael's symbolic presence in this season represents dominion under divine order. Dominion does not mean control over others. It means control over self. Your thoughts, your responses, your discipline, your focus. True elevation is not proven by how high you rise, but by how steady you remain when challenged. As your influence expands, subtle pressures may attempt to test your confidence. You may encounter comparison. You may see others advancing quickly and wonder if you are moving fast enough. Do not allow comparison to contaminate contentment. Your path is uniquely timed. The warning before 11:59 p.m. was specific to you because your assignment is specific. You are not behind. You are not late. You are aligned. There is also a temptation at this stage to overextend yourself. When doors are open and opportunities are flowing, it can feel difficult to say no. But sovereignty includes boundaries. Not every request deserves your energy. Not every demand requires your response. Protect your bandwidth carefully. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that divine authority includes restraint. Strength is not only about action, it is also about discernment. When you choose wisely where to invest your time, you preserve the clarity that carried you this far. Emotionally, you may notice a deeper sense of peace settling in. The anxiety that once surrounded your future has quieted. Even when uncertainty arises, it does not dominate you. That is growth. That is maturity. It is the fruit of obedience sustained over time. However, do not mistake calm for complacency. Sovereignty requires vigilance. Stay attentive to your inner world. Monitor your thoughts. Guard against subtle pride. When progress becomes visible, pride can whisper that you achieved this alone. Remember the urgency. Remember the warning. Remember the divine alignment that protected your breakthrough. Gratitude will keep your heart grounded. There is also something beautiful happening beneath the surface. Your story is becoming a blueprint for others. People may not know the details of your midnight decision, but they will feel the impact of your steadiness. They will observe your discipline. They will sense your clarity. Influence is often silent at first. As you continue forward, you will notice that challenges no longer intimidate you the same way. Instead of reacting emotionally, you evaluate strategically. Instead of fearing setbacks, you analyze lessons. That is sovereignty in action. Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes that you are not navigating alone, but you are navigating responsibly. Divine assistance supports you, but personal accountability sustains you. One final adjustment may occur before the fullness of your season manifests. Something minor may not go as planned. A small delay, an unexpected shift. This is not reversal. It is refinement. Refinement ensures that what you build lasts. Do not interpret small adjustments as signs of failure. They are signs of strengthening. You are not the same person who first heard the warning. You are more grounded now, more disciplined, more discerning, more confident. The version of you that almost missed the breakthrough has been replaced by someone who commands their path with calm assurance. Sovereignty is the final internal upgrade before visible legacy begins. Stand firm in your identity. Walk with quiet authority. Speak with clarity. Act with intention. Guard your peace. Protect your discipline. The breakthrough that once felt fragile is now becoming foundation. And you are no longer reacting to urgency. You are operating from established strength. One final unveiling remains ahead, and it will confirm why every stage was necessary. Victorious one, this is the culmination of everything you have walked through. The warning, the urgency, the decision before 11:59 p.m., the discipline, the unveiling, the multiplication, the refinement, none of it was accidental. Every stage was constructing a version of you that could carry what God was determined to release. Now you stand in confirmation. Look back for a moment, not to dwell, but to recognize. You were once on the edge of missing a divine window. Hesitation almost cost you alignment. Distraction nearly stole your timing. But you responded. You chose obedience over delay. You chose faith over comfort. And because you did, the breakthrough that was at risk of being reassigned is now secured, expanded, and established in your life. This is not exaggeration. This is spiritual law. When heaven releases a warning, it is mercy. When heaven sets a deadline, it is alignment. When heaven urges you urgently, it is because destiny is moving. Archangel Michael's symbolic presence throughout this journey has represented more than protection. It represented enforcement of your assignment. There were unseen battles you never had to fight because you responded in time. There were doors that did not close because you aligned when it mattered. There were distractions that lost power because you chose discipline. You are not here by chance. You are here by response. And now comes the final revelation. The breakthrough was never only about you. It was about positioning you as a gateway. The urgency that shook you is the same urgency others are feeling right now. Somewhere, someone is standing at their own 11:59 p.m. moment. Someone is hesitating. Someone is about to scroll past their warning. Someone is one decision away from losing what was prepared for them. Your obedience has given you authority to speak. This is legacy. Legacy is not fame. It is impact. It is influence that redirects someone else before it is too late. You almost missed your moment, and because you did not, you now carry the credibility to warn others. But legacy requires boldness. Do not shrink back into anonymity. Do not silence your voice now that you have stabilized. The same courage that helped you respond before midnight must now help you stand publicly in alignment. You were warned because you were chosen. You were pressed because you were trusted. You were accelerated because you were ready. And here is the truth that seals this entire journey. Obedience is never wasted. Every time you align with divine timing, something shifts permanently in your favor. The breakthrough you secured is not temporary relief. It is a new standard. It is a new baseline. It is a new chapter that cannot be reversed. Walk forward knowing this. You are no longer the person who fears missing out. You are the person who moves when called. You are the one who responds when urgency speaks. You are the one who carries alignment into every room you enter. Stand tall in that identity. If this message has confirmed what your spirit already knew, then seal it boldly. Type "I did not miss my moment" in the comments if you receive this confirmation. Lesson Code 9007 is now released over those who walk in sustained obedience and unshakable alignment. And now hear this as a continuation of everything you have just received. The same urgency that once called you is calling others tonight. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are placing seed into soil that reaches souls standing at their own midnight threshold. The word declares that as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest will not cease, and this is your moment to step into that living promise. I hear it clearly in the Spirit. When you release your seed, you partner with heaven's timing. This is not a casual donation. It is a prophetic response. As you give, may doors open before you knock. May protection surround your household. May acceleration meet your obedience. Do not hesitate. Act now. Strengthen this mission and become a carrier of the same breakthrough that changed your story.